never felt like down. I never felt like down. Baby, stay with me. Down. You gotta turn up down. I never felt like down. I never felt like down. Baby, stay with me. Down. You gotta turn up down. I never felt like down. I never felt like down. Baby, stay with me. Down. You gotta turn up down.
Alright, I'm live on Twitch.tv once again. People ask me to bring back the Toing streams, and I haven't done them in like 6 weeks. I've been super busy with TOing stuff, with my life, with work. I was ill, I was on holiday. Been a whole bunch of stuff, and these were the first thing to go. But we're bringing back a TOing stream. Today we're going to be going over equipment. I've written a little list here in preparation. I'm going to try and focus on... Well, it's going to be a little bit more alt-leaning. I'm going to try and get as much melee stuff in as possible. But we're going to be talking about what equipment you need for your average event, sort of weeklies, and then moving larger in scale. How to acquire equipment, what you don't need, how much of each equipment you need. Basically, we're just going to be sort of giving an overview, a bit of a list. I mean, I wrote this less than 5 minutes, so it's not... Don't take it as gospel, but... Yeah, I mean, hopefully this will be at least a good overview. I'm going to check it. There's no one in chat yet, but can I be heard? Does everything come through okay? I'm going to check on Twitch because I'm not using my normal microphone. But I sound okay. That's right. Okay, so let me check the viewers here because I am disappointed. There's no one in chat yet. One viewer. Let's get into it, whoever's sitting through this. Okay, so let's go. Put me in the corner, so no one needs to see my big ugly face the whole time. Janja Boker has weighed in on equipment. I'm still upset that those guys did that because that was the 1 week I was like not there in charge of fish equipment in like a year, and it managed to get left. It managed to get taken to Galway. It was awful. But anyway, so I'm hoping this list is alright of bullshit. I'll zoom in a little bit. So we'll start off by going over what you need for actual setups. So Ultimate is monitors and switches. If I start on switches, you don't need... you definitely need your own switch as a TO. If you're not bringing your own switch to TO, I feel like that's just a bad example for your attendees because obviously with switches you need them to be brought by the community. No TO is for his weekly buying 8 switches to run all his setups on because that is a £1,500 investment and it's just not. It's not realistic. It's not going to happen. So, but you got to bring your own switch. We have 2 switches at Big Fish that are both mine. I got a second one because I wanted a second one, and it was helpful for the local. But I was paid for out of my own pocket on both switches, so it's not. I wouldn't say that's standard, but definitely bring your own. And then the rest of switches should be crowdsourced. You got to encourage a community of helping out, and that's the first way you can really get people getting involved is by helping bring their switch. Just dock an HDMI cable and switch, plug it in. That's the first step. Monitors are slightly more. They're on the burden of the TO. They're not quite as expensive as switches, thankfully. And I've written their 1:4 ratio. What I mean by 1:4 ratio is for a standard Ultimate bracket, and you don't have to follow this exactly. You can go, if you want to run more best of 3, you can go up to 1:5, 1:6. But I like to aim to 1:4 in my head of bracket entrance to how many monitors you need. So that's for every 4 players, you want 1 monitor, so that bracket will run smoothly. So if you're expecting a local of 20 people, you should be looking to get 5 monitors in, which is it's a little bit of an effort, and I'll go over. So I'll go over the list of what we need for an event. Then I'll go over how you get it, and then I think I'll go over how you store it, and how you transport it. My third thing, which maybe I'll take the laptop and I'll walk around the house so I can show you. And I've got stuff in the car as well. But yeah, so ultimate monitors 1-to-4 ratio. If you're doing melee and you're going with, well, if you're going with double LM, you can stick to that 1-to-4 ratio. If you're going to run round robin, which a lot of melee brackets like to do these days, you can need a slightly higher volume of setups for melee, because round robin just requires more setups. Round robin, you really want to be having 1-to-3 or 1-to-2 ratio if you can get it. And yeah, my other thing I'll say on melee with CRTs and monitors is I don't like when a bracket does both. And I can understand sometimes it's out of necessity, but what I mean by that is either be an all CRTs bracket or an all monitors bracket, and don't mix me between them. Just because it's different display with the widescreen versus the 4:3 aspect ratio of CRTs. It's the difference between the input delay. It's the difference between like the visual setup of having the pixels versus having it a little smoother, and the buzz in the room and stuff, and just in general, I don't like switching between the two. And I know I'm a bit more casual of a melee player compared to some people who that's their main game, so I won't say my word is gospel there, but I think you shouldn't be splitting them. And if you have to go one or the other, pick whichever one's easier for you. CRTs are probably slightly cheaper to acquire, but harder to acquire, and also they're a ball ache to store and transfer because they're so massive. What we do at Big Fish is we have monitors for the weeklies, and then we go to CRTs for regionals and bigger events. So on a weekly basis, we're not lugging CRTs across the city. We just go 3-4 monitors for our melee setups, and then but for the bigger events where it's a special occasion, you bust out the CRTs, and then we lug those across the city because it's worth it. And then obviously, if you're the one bringing melee, you need to provide the Wii's as the TO, because they are only like £5-10 a pop. And a lot of this melee equipment, on acquiring it, you're going to have to ask Monty. He'll know more than I do about acquiring stuff. But yeah, Wii's and modding them is a really easy process from what I've heard. But as a TO, you are going to have to provide that yourself, because it is a little cheaper than a Nintendo Switch Wii in the 2026. And obviously modding them to get Slippy and stages and UCF and all that nonsense onto your Switch, onto your Wii. I've written there as well, necessary cables are important if you're going to go with the monitor route or the CRT route for melee. You do need to have the cables with it as well. So that's like a SCART lead or a AV cables. You need that for all your Wii's. And if you're going monitors, you need either like a cable that's HDMI at one end, SCART at the other end, because Wii's don't natively have HDMI support. So you either need a monitor that has SCART in, or you need, if you're using a standard monitor, you need a Wii to HDMI little thing. Good evening, Chief 60. I hope you're having a lovely Friday night. What's your opinion on CRTs and monitors being mixed in a bracket? Do you know what I mean when I say, at the weekly at Big Fish, we either do all monitors or all CRTs and not some of both, because I find it annoying switching between the two of them. You're an actual melee sweat tryhard PR player. Do you care about switching between them? Would you rather a bracket with all, like, you only played on monitors, you only played on CRT? I'm interested on your opinion on that. Whatever. They might have just come into chat and told me to fuck off, or shut up and then left again, but I'm interested in G6's opinion on that. Aurelian asks, if melee players complain about playing on HDMI. I think it's at like top level they prefer playing on CRTs than monitors, but at like grassroots Irish level, I think at the moment they're just happy to be playing. And in general, like unless you've got high quality CRTs, a monitor can sometimes be better anyway. So it really depends on the specific piece of equipment you've got in front of you. But if you've got the right settings on the Wii and a decent monitor, then with a Wii to HDMI, it doesn't feel so bad. It doesn't feel noticeably different. The thing is, as well, a lot of melee players these days don't have a CRT at home. They play on a monitor or on their laptop at home, so it can actually feel more comfortable, natural for them. Like playing on Slippy on their laptop compared to showing up to the weekly and playing on a monitor as opposed to a CRT. But we'll keep it moving here. I don't want to drag if I don't have to. And we'll look at the peripherals. This is my next section I've got here, which is the stuff that's not just the setup. And I've written here, I've got extension cord, speakers, and laptop for reporting. These are your bare minimums, I think, that you need to run a bracket. I'll start on the laptop. You can run a bracket off your phone. I find it to be a little cumbersome. It's annoying, especially as well, because then that's your phone. If I'm playing a set and I'm running off my phone, you have to wait until I'm finished. Whereas if the laptop's just sitting on the table, anyone can report on it. You don't need a good laptop to run. Just connect to Wi-Fi and have StartGG. You can have a real anything goes there. So yeah, a laptop for reporting I think is really important. You can use your stream laptop at the same time. I've done that before, but sometimes it's a little bit annoying to constantly be going right next to the players and updating scores and everything, trying to run stream at the same time and having people talk to you, especially if there's commentary going on. It can just be a little bit much sometimes. So if you can get a separate laptop for stream and reporting, great, but just one laptop, absolutely necessary. Extension cords are a big one. A lot of people don't know how many extension cords they need. They don't know how many they have, and they don't know how best to use them. Extension cords come in loads of different lengths and different numbers. You can have ones that are just short little ones with 4 sockets. You can get massive big ones that have like 10 plugs in, and they go for ages. And so I think healthy is to have long term is to have a mix of long and short ones, depending on what you need. We have a few that are just good for taking one plug and turning it into 4, or others that are good for extending cables across the room. It's really just about having that flexibility. In terms of numbers, what you should be looking to do is count how many plug sockets you have from the extension cords, and every setup needs 2 plugs. One for your monitor and one for your console, whether that's a Switch or a Wii. You need 2 plugs per setup. So if you have, say for example, 5 setups, you need 10 plug sockets available, which is normally 3 extension cords. But I would say, as a rule of thumb for a weekly, is that you should aim to be 2 extension cords more than that bare minimum, so that you have for stream laptop, for reporting laptop, and just in general to have a little bit more comfort for different lengths. I would aim for +2 would be where I would set the bar if I were in charge. If I were setting you up there. So you'd go for your bare minimum of 2 plug sockets per setup, and then an extra 2 on top of that, is what I would say. If you're buying them, well, I guess we'll get on to buying stuff in a second, but if you're buying them, yeah, go for that varied length and don't overpay. I almost think it's better to have lots of smaller ones and daisy chain them than be tied down to one massive, like to have only a couple massive ones, because then, like, generally in Smash Bros. Venues, you're not always going to have the perfect plug sockets available, so you don't want to have all your setups crowded around this one extension cord. It's better to be able to use different plugs, like wall plugs, throughout them. So that would be one thing I would say, is don't just buy 1 or 2 big ones. Start off by getting lots of smaller ones. Daisy chain them when you have to until you've got enough, you've been going long enough to acquire some longer ones. BF not Leo in chat says bro broke into his own house to do a TO stream. I did have to break into my house this evening, for those not in the know. I got locked out. I left my keys in my car, and I didn't have my car keys. They were in the house, so I had to hop the back fence and come in through the back door to get into my house today to do this Twitch stream. So don't ever say I'm not committed to Big Fish Belfast and to Smash Bros, because I trespassed 2 different people's back gardens to break into my own house today. So anyway, we'll move on to speakers you need, and I've brought a show and tell example for this one. These are the speakers we use at Big Fish Belfast. They are excellent. They are bar speakers, so they're they're in a nice long bar, and they come with 2 little plug sockets or 2 little cables at the end of it. You've got your aux cable and you've got your USB cable. So the USB cable goes into the Wii or the Switch, and a Switch has 3 USBs. Well, a normal Switch has 3 USB in. If you've got a Switch 2 or a Switch OLED dock, they only have 2 USBs in which case it can be tricky to get the speaker plugged in sometimes. And this aux cable, if you're off stream, you want to plug it into the top of the switch, so just into the aux cord while it's docked, just pop it in there into the aux jack. If you're on stream, if you're using the stream setup, never ever plug your speaker or headphones into the top of the switch when it's docked, because that'll take audio away from the stream and it'll only play out of this. And because it's being played on headphones, the capture card can't pick it up because it's not coming through the monitor, which is what it's not HDMI output, so it's not going to get picked up. So if you're running a stream, what you need is a monitor which has a cable in on the back of the monitor, so you can plug your or the monitor has built-in speakers. But if you're going to plug in a speaker into your stream monitor, make sure it has aux in. I'm going to see here if I have two monitors sitting down on the thing here next to me. I'm going to see if so these ones do have. I wonder if I can put this on the camera. Try not knock everything over. Can we? Oh, how am I going to put that in there? There. You can see that little green one, or just next to the green one there. You can see the aux in. So this monitor will be good for stream because it has aux. It's about a 50-50 whether modern monitors have an aux jack, and if you only have one of those, that should be your stream setup because of the audio. So that's a little bit of a tip there. Aurelian's asked, speakers requirement, he thinks it would be nice to have, not required. I agree that I wouldn't have it too high on your priorities. It's definitely the lowest priority item I've mentioned so far. The reason why I think I would have it as one of the first things I would have it as a requirement rather than in the sort of nice to have category is because they're cheap, they're easy to get, and they're such a huge quality of life thing in terms of making the atmosphere better in the room. If you walk into the room and it's just silent, you can't hear any speakers, it's a bit of a shit vibe, and it just makes it puts everyone on a level playing field as competitors, that they can hear the audio, because then you don't have to deal with people going, I didn't have audio, I was playing against Snake and he was C4 and I didn't hear it. It's like, it's like £5 a pop. I think I got these at Poundland for £3. I'm not sure they still sell them, but you can get them on Amazon. Let's see if I can find them on Amazon. Let's do a live test. USB bar speakers. They're a little bit more expensive online, but I'm sure if you buy them in bulk, this one for a tenner, £9. Yeah. So these ones we have. Yes, Monty's there in chat. He got them on AliExpress soundbars. That's it. We had old ones from Poundland, and these ones are the AliExpress ones, aren't they? So there you go. I've never used AliExpress before. We'll see if we can find them live on stream. Where's the search bar? There it is. Soundbar. Jesus God, websites are here. We go. £6 a pop here on AliExpress. So super cheap, super easy to get. We got like 10 or something in bulk. They come in cardboard boxes with just the stuff I showed you there. They're really easy to get a hold on. There's my tab. And that's what I'm saying. They're cheap and they're easy to carry, and they're really useful for competitors for stream and for just creating a little bit of a vibe. Ty says £3.60, and they were at the top. There you go. He's the AliExpress wizard. He buys everything off there. But yeah, if you know where to look, you can get them super cheap. So that's why I have them on my priority list. Okay, so now let's go on to stream stuff. And again, I'm glad Ty's in chat while I'm talking about stream stuff, because that's his area of domain. These are what I have for requirements for stream, and not everything here is necessary. I've mentioned about the monitor having the aux jack as opposed to having a normal monitor for so that you get audio for your stream and for your players. A decent laptop is going to be required for a stream. You need some level of processing power, normally a gaming laptop of some kind, or a high-end laptop. Probably you need to spend about £800 pounds. I think I would say it's probably what you need to, at least for a decent laptop for stream, just because it does require performance. It requires reading the capture card and cameras and stuff. It is intensive on the laptop, so you do need a decent quality laptop. And stream is the one area of equipment where I would encourage. You can't cheap out really on your equipment for your laptop and your capture card. Everything else in Smash Bros. Grassroots running events, you can try and get cheap. You can try and get a discount. You can try the budget option. Stream, you need a decent laptop. You're gonna need to fork out for a decent laptop, and you're gonna have to fork out for a capture card. Now, normally, Smash Bros. Players have decent laptops because they're gamers or because they're computer geeks or whatever. You know, I have a gaming laptop. Ty has a gaming laptop. We've got a couple other people at Big Fish who've been able to bring theirs. Normally, someone does have a laptop that's powerful enough to run a stream at decent frame rate. So we haven't had to fork out for one out of pocket. We have our own already. Capture card we have had to purchase. A lot of people try and cheap out, try and get an off-brand capture card or a budget one, and I feel you get such a poor return on investment on those. They look like shit. They're choppy. They not high quality picture, not high quality frame rate, and it's just sort of a waste of time. I think you've got to go for an Elgato one. They are, again, I can pull up on Amazon, Elgato capture card. I have an HD60S, is that what I think we bought? Yeah, so I think we have this, which was about 180 when I bought it a few years ago, down to 123 here. You can go on the Elgato website. Yeah, there you go. I purchased it in November in 2022. Currently unavailable, I think. Yeah, I've got the S Plus, and I spent maybe £200 on it. But I think you do have to get an Elgato in terms of capture cards, because it is the only one that's not extortionate, that works easily with HDMI input. It's really easy to set up. It works with OBS natively, and you need to spend the money to get a decent picture. I feel stream is like the one place where I'm like, yeah, the money is gonna have to be invested on a capture card, and you need to make sure you got a good laptop. Microphone, USB webcam. These are less required, more nice to have. Just a USB microphone for commentary. These are super cheap. I got mine in like an electronics shop in Belfast for maybe 20 quid, 30 quid. Get them online for, I'm sure, less than that, maybe £15. Let's find out what Amazon says. And again, if I could type, that'd be helpful. Again, there's going to be different sites. Monty might be able to direct you towards AliExpress, get you something super cheap. That one says 60 quid. You don't expect 60 quid. 20 quid there. This one's £13. 20 quid. Something like this is all you need for. Plug it on the desk in front of the TO setup and just let people talk into it. I think a microphone like this is really good for building community quickly as well. Just letting people talk about the game. Making people commentate makes people watch what's happening on stream in the venue, which is nice, and they talk about it. And it's also inclusive having a mic like this, because anyone can just gather around and talk in front of it. They don't need to put on the headset. They don't need to be in the official commentary slot. So for just a local, something like this, 20 quid, yeah, 13 pounds there, 15, 20 quid on a USB microphone. Again, the quality doesn't have to be super high. It could even be a little bit lower quality. You know, the mic peaking can be funny. You know, you think of some of the classic old Melee clips where the mic peaks and that's like part of the charm almost. So, yeah, not too expensive to get a hold of one of these. If you've got a budget for one, I think it's really good. That'll be the first thing I would get outside of capture card and laptop for stream, is get some commentary going with a microphone like this. Then I would look to webcam for the players, because it's really nice to have. It makes a difference on the stream if you can see the players. It's nicer to watch it back. You get the players' reaction. You get more content out of it. I think it's nice to have. It's not a necessity. Like when I run the streams, when Ty's away, I don't have a webcam. I just have laptop, capture card, microphone. But the player cam makes a lot of difference. It's really nice to have. And then if you're feeling super bougie, you can get another one you can get more webcams. You can have a venue cam. You can have a commentator cam, which again are nice things to have. But those are, if you're trying to up your production game, you're trying to invest in your production, those are like the next step to go. But you don't need them just for your weekly. Like we don't set them up for the weekly. If I'm going too fast, or if anyone got any more questions or pieces of equipment they think might be needed, please shout at me in chat, and I'm reading all the messages. So it's nice to go with. So then we'll go into some luxury items that are, again, nice to have, but not a necessity when you're purchasing stuff. So for Melee, I've written USB reporting. This is the new trend, and it is really, really good in terms of getting VODs and making reporting quicker and easier. It's not a necessity. You can run a perfectly good, very high quality local without it. We did for years, but it is nice to have. You need to buy a few USBs and install the software and make sure your laptop is good for reading the USBs and put them on YouTube. You got storage space for it and everything. But that's really nice to have for your Melee. Ultimate, I've rent GameCube adapters. I have one myself that actually doesn't work since they updated it. I haven't got around to fixing it. But in general, people should be bringing their own GameCube adapters if they're a GameCube controller player. That's the standard in, I think, Europe now. My take on GameCube adapters is that if you're a GameCube controller player, you showed up to the venue with a controller that's not natively compatible with the Switch. So it's your responsibility to bring the adapter. I know you own an adapter, because how else would you play at home? If you didn't have an adapter, please bring the adapter with you. And in an ideal world, you would only ever just use your adapter, and everything would be sunshine and rainbows. Obviously, that's not going to happen, so people are going to forget GameCube adapters. They're not going to bring them, or they're just not going to have one. So a couple spare ones is nice to own, but again, not a necessity. GameCube adapters are one of those things as well that as you run tournaments for a while, people forget them, people leave them behind, and you end up accruing them. Like I said, I bought one time, and we have like 3 or 4 big fish ones. And it's just been left behind, no one's claimed them, and they're now community, and we use them every fish. I mentioned commentary cam, venue cam. Commentary headsets are nice for commentators to have the headset and the microphone here. They can hear each other. Again, that requires a little bit more investment, and it's a little more higher production quality, but again, the cost comes with it, and not necessary for a weekly, only if you're trying to run high production, high quality streams, sort of regional. Extra monitor for commentators, again, that's a nice thing to have if you're going for production value, but in general, you can just have the commentators watch from the laptop screen that's streaming, or from the PC that's streaming. They don't need their own monitor unless you're running that high production. Fancy lighting, we've got, well, at Big Fish, we have what we call Vince Casey's gay light that he bought a few years ago, and when he was in one of his retirement bases, we took off his hands at Kingdom, I think, or at the Battle City or something. We have a Big Fish now. They are super clunky, and they take so much space in my car, and I hate them, but they do make the stream look way nicer, and they look really good. So they're nice to have, again, if you want to go for a high quality stream. I feel like I'm repeating myself something with my words, but they're not a necessity. they do look really good. So we didn't pay any money for them. So yeah, Ty said they made the Chilog stream look really good, and the Chilog stream look good. They do make a difference. I wouldn't bust them out on a weekly again, but they are. Grudgingly, I'll admit they're a difference maker. I don't know how much they cost because we didn't buy them ourselves. Vince bought them, and then he wanted to sell them to us, and we said he was trying to get rid of them, and we said we're not paying for those, Vince. We'll just take them, and then we took them because we do that. We can get away with that apparently. I mean, if he ever wants them back, he can have them. I'll drive down to Kerry and drop them off at his front door. I hate the light, but yeah, they are nice. And then the other thing I've written in nice to have is spare cables. Again, this is the sort of thing you pick up after TOing for a few years. We have the IKEA bag, which is just full of junk that we pick up. And this is the sort of thing that floats around there. Spare USB-C cables, spare HDMI cables. People bring switches with no HDMI cable because it's stuck in the back of their TV. Or they bring their Procon, they have no USB-C cable. That happens all the time. And I'm constantly lending people my cables, and then they steal them, and I never see them again. And I'm having to get more. But well, especially HDMI cables are... especially HDMI cables are the kind of thing you just accrue as a TO. When you buy it, like all the time, if you buy monitors online, they'll come with an HDMI cable like half the time. If you buy any sort of like visual equipment, there's 50% chance they come with HDMI cables. They're so cheap. And you buy a switch, it comes with an HDMI cable. So you have loads, and you pick up spares eventually as people leave. Switch power plugs as well. Like, do people know what I mean when I say that? like these Nintendo Switch power cables. They're really useful to have. We have a few. I have like 2 spare ones, I think, plus the 2 for my Switches. I don't know how I got them. I think I bought one. I think I picked up another one, but I lent one. I gave one away to run WAF 2 weeks ago because he didn't have one. Well, a few months ago now. But they're really good. They charge your phone if you've got an Android. They're USB-C. They charge your Pro Controller. People will again bring their Switch with no power cable. So they're nice to have as spare. That's what I use to charge my phone. Is one of those. I have one at home and one in my work bag. And monitor power cables again. So those are the monitor power cables come in 2 kinds. There's these ones here, which I feel like I'm a magician out of my bag of things. I've got loads. That's the thing with my house. It's just full of Smash Bros. Shite. But yeah, so these power cables are... The power cables come in 2 kinds of monitors. It's these ones, which most monitors take these days. And are really nice to keep spare. What we do is, if we ever break the screen on a monitor, we hold onto the cable so that if sometimes the power cable breaks on them, you can use your spare one, switch over, or they charge. They sometimes use a bad thing. Then there are other kinds which I don't have one of those handy. I'm seeing the monitor I've got Stream up on, but they look like laptop chargers all the time. I'll unplug my laptop to show. So like these are sometimes monitors have power cables like these, which again you can charge your laptop with sometimes, or you can plug into a monitor. And if you have a spare one of these, it can be useful as well if a monitor's power cable goes and you have a spare one of those. Aurelian's brought up a really good point there about Ethernet cables. Very useful to have for stream. I'm going to write down Ethernet here. If a venue has Ethernet, it's way, way, way better to stream over Ethernet than on Wi-Fi. You just get a way more consistent connection. You're going to have a higher upload speed, and the stream's just going to be higher quality, less frame dropping, fewer cuts and pixelated sections, and less downtime. If you've got a chance to get Ethernet, get one of those. Again, I think you can get a long Ethernet cable for not that much money. I know because 2 different times at Academy Plaza events, they've forgotten their long Ethernet cable. And I've had to go to Curry's PC World and spend €30 on a 10-meter Ethernet cable, and then bring it back to the venue. And Vince has then handed me €30 cash, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. But you can probably get them slightly cheaper than that online. And I would say, yeah, if you've got Ethernet at the venue, try and use that and try and set up your stream near the Ethernet port rather than stream over Wi-Fi, because it does make a difference. I have a you don't need section at the bottom here as well. Then on stuff I've seen people suggest, or people have, that you just don't need. It's absolutely luxury, and don't stress about this at all. Headphone splitters. People should be bringing their own headphone splitters if they want to use headphones. Again, it's sort of similar to GameCube adapters, where it's like you don't need to wear headphones. I've brought a speaker so you can hear the game. If you want to do headphones, it's on you to bring a splitter. Maybe have one. I have one, but I wanted one. They're like a $5 online. But don't stress yourself about buying headphone splitters because they're super easy to lose. Recording setups. Again, a lot of people try and go for loads of recording setups for Ultimate, and you need more capture cards, you need more laptops, you need someone to watch the recording setup. It's a hassle. Don't do it unless you're willing to go through a long-ass, unedited, watched VOD at the end of the stream, or constantly managing it all day, and it's just another headache to worry about. So, for often very little return. So, unless you're going super mega regional, and you're stuck for time, and you need to do. You're not going to get much stream time, so you want to record more sets. Yeah, go for it. But yeah, I really wouldn't stress about that, especially early days. The other thing I thought of that we have is our own projector setup, because we have one, and you just don't need that either. I can't believe that we carry that to events. The massive projector and the screen it gets put onto. It's really awesome, and it helps us in those situations. But don't get involved with that. If this is the sort of stuff you're like buying and getting yourself involved into, you're off deep end. You've gone too far, and you're like Monty and Pascal, who are ridiculous for equipment and TOing, and it takes over your life. If you're thinking about this sort of stuff, it takes over your life basically. So I'm saying stay clear of this. If you hit this threshold of I want to buy this equipment, go for a walk or talk to someone. Don't be getting into this sort of stuff. I left a question mark there. Does anyone else have any pieces of equipment they think of that they have that they might want to get put on a list of like equipment I think is important at events? Bring it up in chat. But for the meantime, we'll go through. So I'll run through back to the top of the list, and I'll give an overview on how the sort of price you should be expecting to pay for a lot of this stuff, and how you're going to acquire it. So for monitors, I'll start with monitors. We buy a lot of monitors. We currently have, I think, 19 or 20 Big Fish monitors. We've broken maybe 5 or 10 over the years, so I've probably been involved in the purchasing of about 20, because we inherited a few from Gabe. They are very easy to get, very cheap if you know where to look. And the place to look is Facebook Marketplace. I'm going to pull up Facebook Marketplace, and I'm going to type in monitor for you. It might be recommending some already, because this is all I look for on this godforsaken website. Yeah. So loads of monitors near me, wherever you are. If you're Ireland, if you're UK, whoever's watching this, there will be monitors. If I go into my messages with people, you can see I just my camera's in the way there, but yeah, I just text people about monitors, like gaming chair, monitor. This is what I text people about on Facebook Marketplace. So I can show you example. I've got these two monitors here. Does it have the? Can I see the actual? Yeah, I have these two monitors here, sat next to my desk. There they are, in person. These monitors, I paid £60 for the two of them. Ty wanted me to negotiate lower. You got to negotiate with these people on Facebook Marketplace. Depends who you speak to is how much negotiating you get. Ty tries to get me to pay as little as physically possible. I try to aim for about £30 a pop. I think, depending on the quality and the size of the monitor, I'm not paying more than 40 at absolute most, and I'm trying to get around £30 average. There he is in chat. Could have got those for 50. Oh man, like he's such a miser about this sort of stuff. But I'll see if I can pull up another one I bought recently, because I bought 4 recently. That's the one I just pulled up. This one I purchased as well, I think. Will it give me the? This one will give me the listing for it, but this one's still up. Yeah, there's another one I bought recently that's downstairs. I paid 40 for this one, I believe. I negotiated him down from 45 to 40 because I'm class. But yeah, basically you're just going on a Facebook Marketplace. You're typing in monitor, and you're giving it a good scroll, trying to find ones nearby that are decent quality. These ones, square ones, I avoid square ones. Something like this, I would definitely look for. What I do is, once you get the specs of it, I type it into Google. So for this one, for example, I would type in HP E23. I've literally done this one before, and I type in monitor ports, and you get a good. You can use the AI overview if you want. Make sure you've got an HDMI port. It's basically all it is. If you're buying it for ultimate use or melee use, you want an HDMI port, because it's very important. You don't want to be buying extra cables or adapters. Just get one with an HDMI port. So that's the first thing I check, and then you text these people. You try and lowball, try and get them to around £30-35. And then I go and collect them in my cart. What happens is normally Ty will find these and then send them to me, and I'll message these people, collect them, pay cash, because it's easier for everyone if you pay cash. And then the other thing I would say is, when you go and pick them up, give them a... So, like, when I get there to the person's house, I will pick up the monitor, I'll give it a good look over, make sure there's no noticeable scratches, no dents, there's everything looked alright on the surface, on the casing as well. I'll go and double check the ports that are on it, so I'll see if I can pull them up the screen again. Don't knock over my Diet Coke. Like this. Here, so there's the power cable, and then you can see the ports here. You can see the HDMI port is just at a wall here. You can see the HDMI port there. It's in here. So you make sure the HDMI port looks alright, it's going to work. And then I always ask them to turn it on as well. So they normally have everything laid out for you really nicely, because they're just trying to get rid of the thing. But I make sure I just see it turned on, so that I know the power cable works, I know that the screen lights up okay, there's no marks on the screen or anything. And then once I've seen it power on, I'm good to go. I normally ask them as well, like, why they're getting rid of it. The answer 95% of the time... Hold on, I've just broken this monitor. There we go. I've just knocked the base off. The answer, like, 90% of the time is, oh, I had it for work from home, and now I bought a better one. Or now I don't need it, I go back to the office. And they just sell them online. And so... But if they're getting rid of it for a specific reason, you kind of want to weed that out. But 95% of the time it's, oh, I just don't need it anymore, I've got a better one on this. So, but yeah. About 30 quid, go and pick them up. There's 3 of these going for £30 a pop. I see, but these, no HDMI port. So I wouldn't buy these, that's why these aren't selling, there's no HDMI port. But yeah, pull up Facebook Marketplace, give it a scroll. I mean, these are all... Like, how many of these are available in... I've picked up 4, like, 2 weeks ago, last weekend. And there's now a bunch available back up on the market. And these people, they'll list them at £80-90. No one's going to buy them at that cost, and they'll eventually lower. So, but don't go out buying brand new monitors. Don't go out buying gaming monitors, expensive stuff. You're just not going to use it. You don't need it. Buy cheap, buy secondhand. And I was saying about... For stream, you got to spend all the money. For monitors, secondhand cheaper. As long as they're decent. As long as they turn on, they can just be on your computer monitor. We're not playing, like, Smash, especially Ultimate, already has so much inbuilt delay that, like, people aren't going to feel if monitors are... I mean, some monitors are lagging than others, naturally, and make sure you put them in game mode as well, but in general, you don't need to get these super, 60 hertz, high refresh rate, blah 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 blah. Buzzword monitors. You'll get the job done with just office monitors that are decent enough. I was just seeing chat there earlier. Sorry, those are these new portable like tablets. I haven't seen those specifically, like not like the ones we have, that are like folding ones. I had one of those and I broke it. I still don't. But yeah, no, I like portable monitors. They're a little small, I think, to be in regular use for my liking. Portable monitors, I wouldn't want them every setup to be one, but they're handy for melee. Yo, what's up, Pascal? They're handy for melee. They're handy for commentary, stream setups, and they're nice to like have on the go to bring to events as well. If you're like traveling or you want to like you use a portable monitor for like an airport setup or a train setup, they're really good for that. But I wouldn't say I'm huge on them for every single setup. But no, I have to see more about these ones. So that's monitors. This is the go-to on monitors. Pay £35 max and pop. And like what did I buy? I bought four for 130, 135, I think, over the last couple of weeks, which averaged to £32.5. Is odd numbers off my top of my head. And Ty was furious with me about how much money I spent. I mean, the thing with this, I should say about the finance as well, is that when you're first starting up, there is going to be that investment. Like, when I first started buying equipment, we've been small pond, so 2023, and we bought out of pocket, me and Leo, like 4 monitors, extension cables, speakers, and all that stuff, and it was maybe £150, and you just have to sort of live with that investment into your scene. You can crowdfund money, you can get donations in, and you can, as you start running regionals and you start running paid entry events rather than free events, you can then build in a venue fee with the like back dates, the stuff you invested in initially to make up your money. But in general, you got to accept that this is a good fee you're investing. Come back to these monitors. Anyway, so that's my monitors. Switches, you can get secondhand. If you're buying ones nowadays, make sure they're moddable. There's no point buying a secondhand switch that isn't moddable, because the seller doesn't know. Like, your average seller doesn't know if it's moddable, so get the serial number. People know how to check. Here's my switch patched. There we go. Yeah. If you're buying switches secondhand, make sure going on this website and checking that they're moddable, because there's no point buying secondhand ones these days. If they're not moddable, I spent, I think, £200 on my secondhand switch, like my moddable switch, like 3-4 years ago. Price has probably fallen since the Switch 2's come out, but yeah, don't sweat about buying CRTs. I've never acquired a CRT, but people who have, if they're in chat, can tell me about this. Again, I think it's a lot of searching secondhand sites like Facebook Marketplace. If I take CRT TVs, they are not going to be as easy to come by. There's one going in Wellspool, there's one in Durham here. You can buy a Sony Trinitron from Newcastle for £350. Twitch cat has disappeared from me here. There we go. The Twitch chat has disappeared there for a second. Sorry. Ty says basically all his have been free or £10. They went up in price a lot because people think they're rare. Yeah. I think they come in waves and stuff, but you can pick them up for pretty cheap. That one looks fun, but yeah, there's not really many in. But it's such an old TV, I'm pretty sure as well to get people list them as. People list them as all sorts of things, but in general, yeah, I wouldn't be wanting to spend big bucks on CRTs. You can get people just trying to get rid of them, just trying to get trying to dump them, and if you're able to go and collect and pick them up, you can get them for free, is my understanding. Wii's, again, tight. Where do you buy your Wii's from? Do you get them online for like a $5, right? Ty says if you're chill with going to the dump, you can pick up CRTs there. But yeah, we've got the dump CRT. I got one that was abandoned outside my girlfriend's like flat. It was in the rain, and I took it in and I cleaned it up, and we ran with that for a while, which I think is really nice. You know, you can just find them in the wild, CRTs. They're beautiful. But yeah, Wii's, again, online, cheap enough. It was Nurse Back to Health battery. It was, that was so fun, like, picking up and cleaning it, and then, like, plugging in a GameCube or a Wii into it for the first time, and, like, seeing it actually boot up. I was like, oh my god. It'd been out there for, must have been a couple of weeks in the rain in Belfast. I couldn't believe it worked. It was class. Yes. Ty says, bulk bought Wii's for mostly £5, had to buy power cables on top. Yeah, so, again, not too expensive to pick up Nintendo Wii's, given you only need, realistically, about 5 or 6 of them, unless you're running a crazy operation. So, that's not too bad. Extension cords, you can buy them anywhere, basically. Again, that's just something you might be able to get cheaper, buying in bulk. Let's see what Amazon has here. I know I got some at Poundland. They're cheaper in Poundland. I'm typing in Amazon. Extension lead. So, I mean, this one's £5, £10. So, not too expensive to get online. These are alright. One thing I would say is if you're getting them, try and get that one with the light on it. Because they're like fuse protected or surge protected or something, and they're better, especially if you're doing CRTs and stuff that uses a lot of power. Is that music finished? It has. Let's throw on another Persona one. We can watch an EasyJet ad all together as well. But yeah, try and get ones with the surge protector on them, and try and get that variety of lengths. But you don't need to get these crazy, like, I'm sure they'll be trying to sell you these towers. Don't get a tower. Don't get these big, massive ones. You don't need a big, massive one. You just need a few easy ones. Again, I got some in, I can get them in Tesco. I got some in Lidl. I got some in Poundland. I got like 4. My cheapest, one of my proudest cheap TO moments was at like a market in outside Belfast called Nuts Corner. There was a guy who just was selling like CRT extension cables, and I got them for like I got like 4 for like £6 or something. It was awesome. That was the most exciting purchase I made all day in the market. I don't think I bought anything else. I just bought extension cables for Big Fish, and we still use them, and they still work fine. They're a little bit dirty, but they work okay. So try and be creative. Don't spend big bucks on extension cables. They're not worth it. Speakers, again, I went over AliExpress. Again, I'm sure you can get super cheap extension cables on AliExpress as well. Extension power cord, sure. This one says free with any purchase. One of these like big roll ones as well is nice to have, but not a necessity. But I'm sure you can pick some stuff up here if you do a bit of research. The other thing I would say about extension cables is you should speak to your venue about them. A lot of venues will have spare or have their own ones that are for their events they run. If they're a bar or if they're a venue, like an event venue, they will have their own. So speak to them and ask what the extension cable situation is with them before you go out and purchase a load. If they have, say, like, oh yeah, we can give you 1 or 2, then you only need to buy 1 or 2 yourself and not 5, you know. So speak to venues, because extension cables are the kind of thing they often have available to tenants. Yeah, laptop, I'm not going to teach you how to buy a laptop. You know how to do that. Capture card, Elgato, we went over this stuff. USB webcam, again, Amazon, I'm sure you can get it fairly cheap. USB webcam. Again, this is the sort of thing, tech stuff like this you can get from China, AliExpress. I think we have these ones, don't we, Ty? Something like this. These ones maybe 20 quid. Easy enough pickup. Yeah, I don't think there's much more to go over in terms of sourcing them. Yeah, Ty said he bought webcams for like 12 quid. So I don't... always do make sure you research stuff you're buying and not overpaying, and don't bulk buy at first unless you've got a big event coming up. I would say drips and drabs, get stuff in, test it, know what works for you, and get a feel for different pieces of equipment. Like monitors, for example, I can now look at and tell what brand they are and how the screen is quality because I've bought 20 of them. Just you got to go and get a feel for this sort of stuff, and I'm trying my best to give an overview here, but it's going to come down to you and your own research and what you have in your local scene. So do your research, and again, always if you're unsure about an piece of equipment, text me or Ty, and we'll probably be able to help you. Say if you're overpaying, if you're underpaying, if you're getting a good deal, if you're getting ripped off on something, we'd be happy to give some recommendations on brands and stuff like that as well. So the last thing I said I was going to cover on equipment would be transporting it as well, and storing it. So storing stuff, get big bags, and we have an IKEA bag, the IKEA bag is super class. If you go to IKEA, make sure you pick up one of the bags, like a $5, big massive bag. It stores so much stuff. That's where we put our speakers and our extension cords for them. Because we have so many, we have a separate extension cord bag as well. Ty has a suitcase for all his Wii's and bits and bobs, which is really nice. Handy for transporting. Like we put stuff in rucksacks. So like I had my rucksack here, full of all my crap. This has got my Switch, 2 switches, and a laptop in it, and then it's got a charger for that. I put controllers and headphones and stuff in here as well. One thing I'd also get if you're buying loads of equipment, I'm making a mess here, but a roll of labels from Tesco, like £2, like sticky labels, and write your name on everything and get it labeled so that you know what's yours and where it's going to be and stuff. Don't especially if you're running an event like with other people, don't let your stuff get lost because it's not been labeled properly. So I'll see if I have an example in here. Yeah, this switch should say Pascal on it somewhere. Oh, actually, I have it here. My GameCube adapter says Pascal, and a label on it for like 5 years. I've also got an Elgato sticker on it, so I know it's mine. But yeah, Pascal sticker on it. Once it's on there, it's been on there for years. I don't even think about it anymore, but just always label your equipment so you know. And if people take it by accident, they know that they've picked up yours, and then you get it back. Or you can see someone using it, and it's got your name written on it. So labeling is good. Storing equipment, I would also say you got to... we store everything in our house. If a venue can let you store your equipment, do store it there, because transporting is such a pain in the ass. Like, for example, if your weekly venue will let you store a couple bags and 4 TVs there, do it. And then you don't have to bring everything back and forth every time. You don't need a car every time. But if you have to store it at your house, there's a couple tips. CRTs you can stack, or you can put stuff on CRTs because they're super just big and strong. We keep our monitors near our utility stuff, so near our washing machine and all that. On the top of that is a good spot. You're not really putting anything on there. Or just like under your desk in your room. I have stuff under my bed as well that we don't use very often. The other thing is when you're storing monitors, and I don't know how the best way to describe this is, but I'll see if I can show you with this prop, with this monitor I've picked up again. But you see on the base, if I tilt it forward, you can see how there's like a bit of space at the base. Like, monitors are very thin, right? But let's see if I can do it this way. The base is like thicker than the monitor, by quite a lot. Like that's the thing taking up the most space. If you're the storage floor, right, and I'm putting it down, the base is taking up all the space and not the actual monitor. So what you can do if you've got two monitors, and luckily for me, I have two monitors sat right next to me, is you basically want to store them like this, so that one base is on top of the other, and then slightly lined up, and then you put them down, and they take up they take up less space if they're pressed, because you can then press the two screens like right up next to each other like this, and put them on top of each other, and you can bounce. It's a little bit of a bouncing out, and you get a feel for it, you get a skill for it, but they take up way less space if you stack their bases on top of each other rather than just side by side. Like you can see the difference here between this is with them stacked, and they take up this much space, but if I take away the stacking and I put them just like that, they take up this much space, you know? Like that's it's not easy to give an example on stream just a webcam in front of me. If you guys were in the room with me, you get a better idea. But that's my tip for storing them, and if you're ever at Donnybrook, you can see how we store them, which is evil, and it takes up so much space in the house. Don't store everything in one house if you can. Try and spread it out between your community. But that's my tip, is try and stack the bases as much as you can. The other thing with storage is, yes, I should talk about padding. So we most use this for traveling, but for storage can be useful as well, is piece of cardboard. I've got a mattress delivered a few months ago, and I cut up the cardboard box, which got pieces of cardboard. Different boxes you have, cardboard or bubble wrap, anything you get stored or delivered. Cut it up, get it into pieces of flat cardboard. Try and get them about the size of your monitor screen. This one's fit perfectly because I'm awesome. But the piece of cardboard basically covers the monitor screen so that when it's in storage or when it's getting transported, it's not bouncing up and down, and it's not hitting sharp edges on other TVs or on plug sockets, or like plug the metal bits, and not banging around as much and causing damage to the screen. You want a piece of cardboard or a towel or a piece of bubble wrap or something, some sort of cover for your screen, basically, to keep it protected. A lot of people like to transport their monitors with the boxes, which I'm against because it takes up way more room in your boot, and if you're trying to move stuff in bulk, you're just not going to have success with that. So we don't transport them within the boxes. If you're not transporting more than 8 monitors at a time, you can definitely get away with that, but for us, we have to, like, I drove to Leicester with 25 monitors and 4 bags of stuff in my car, which I would never recommend. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that for a variety of reasons. But yeah, I wouldn't transport them in the box if you've got lots of them, and I would get pieces of cardboard, towel, or bubble wrap to cover the screens. There's different ways of putting them in your car. In the different slots for storing them are in the boot. I like to do them like face down, stacked with a piece of cardboard in between, and then like 2 piles face down like that. Putting them upright is just asking them to wobble and bounce into each other, and if you go face down, they'll bounce a little bit, sure, but with the padding in the middle, I think you're less at risk, and you can feel a bit more comfortable, and you can fit more because you're not limited to the height of one monitor. For other places in the car, you can put a monitor. You can fit 2 in the footwell of where people's feet go in the back seat. If you put them facing each other, like I was showing with the bases stacked, but basically like face to face down in the footwell, you can get a couple down there with padding in between, and also just like, if you've got, then the final one you put in should be face up because it's got nothing on top of it to bounce on it. Then it doesn't need padding on the top. So for example, if you're putting like a bag on the back seat, like a big bag, put then the monitor on top of that, and that gives you an extra storage location. You can also, if you're moving with people, just get them to put a monitor on their lap. Like, it's no hassle to them if it's a small one and it's not heavy. Make people take monitors on their lap, make people take bags on their laps. But in general, like, transporting monitors is a bit of a Once you get into a rhythm, it's okay. When you add CRTs into the mix, it gets a bit more complicated because CRTs take up so much space. The key is to go with, if you've got a standard size car, you want 2 CRTs in your boot, and then fit monitors. Like the way I fit a monitor in, so I've got a big ass CRT, I then get a monitor upside down, and the base goes over the top of the CRT, and then you press it up like that. Obviously, cardboard layer in the middle, and you press it up like that, and then that takes up very little space. So you can get, like, if you've got 2 CRTs in the back, you can only get 2 or 3 monitors in the boot with it. Then CRTs basically just go on chairs. Again, big ones on chairs, small ones in footwells. And try and, again, cover the CRT screen with bubble wrap or cardboard if you can. If you're just transporting CRTs by yourself, you should be able to fit maybe 8. Well, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, like 9 or 10 in a car by yourself, depending on how big your car is, obviously. I've got a pretty standard size car, but depends how big your boot is. If you get more people in, obviously you lose space, but the takeaway, I think, is just you can fit more stuff in a car than you think you can if you pack it smartly. And you don't care about being able to see out the rearview mirror. Because you don't need to see out the rearview mirror, you only need to see out your wing mirrors. Big vans drive around, they've got a big lorry doesn't have a rearview mirror, does it? He just uses his wing mirrors and he's okay. So legally, you can have the boot packed all the way up to the top and you don't need to see out the rearview mirror. I think that's everything on transport monitors. I should record a video of us packing up the car for a big day away so I can show how it's done and how we sort of jigsaw Tetris everything in there. But that's the best tips I can give, like just speaking it out loud. Again, storage. I wouldn't pay for a storage room if you don't need to, unless you've got like serious bulk. You can just keep it in your house. Keep it on the bottom floor. Don't carry equipment up and downstairs if you can avoid it. Keep everything on the bottom floor. Yeah, it's a lot of common sense storing stuff. Once you get the hang of it, once you get it consistent, you'll be alright. I think that's everything. I've been live for ages. Like, how long have I been streaming for here? Just over an hour there. So I think that's a good chunk of information I've gotten through. We're peaked at 8 viewers, and I was just about to say in the stream. So, but thanks to everyone who's watching. Has anyone got any more questions or stuff they would raise about equipment that they think is worth talking about before I throw this up on YouTube? I think I've covered the most part. I've covered the majority of stuff that you need to go over for equipment. It's a little... Yeah, I mean, it's just about how you acquire it, really. So don't overpay for stuff, and knowing what you can afford to, like, knowing which equipment is worth the investment in, which is going to be your stream laptop and your capture card, and what you can cheap out on and try and get your budget deals on. Monitors, extension cords, speakers, go cheap on those because the difference is not going to be too much. But in general, yeah, do your research. Search about on second-hand sites first before you buy anything new. Buying anything new for like a community like this is a scam, I think. Like, go second-hand if you can, because no one's expecting like high quality esports production levels. Just like people want something that works more than anything. So go second-hand, go grassroots if you can, and only buy new if you have to. But in general, I mean, I think the monitors are the big one. It's about getting on Facebook Marketplace. It's about haggling people down and picking them up for 30 quid. Monty's asked me a very inappropriate question that I cannot give an answer to on stream, and it's a silly question because he already knows the answer to it. But yeah, I think we'll call it there, gang. I'll go back to the awful big camera. You can see more of my big ugly face. Thanks to everyone that watched and listened to me ramble on for over an hour about equipment and stupid Smash Bros. Tournaments. I do like doing these streams, but I just I'm busy sometimes, and I feel like there's not actually... Well, I feel like picking a topic that I have lots to say on is hard, and then I get on the stream and I actually have loads of shite to say about everything. But they also link together with TI stuff, so... But we'll keep going through it one by one. If people have more topics you want me to go over, I will. I'd like to do scheduling. I'd like to do speaking to a venue. Booking a venue might be next. We can write up like a draft email together or something. And maybe I can do some live venue hunting. I want to book a venue in Dublin a while back, and I never got around to it. But yeah, we'll call it there for today. VOD will go up on YouTube immediately. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys.